Good afternoon, my dear listener. The topic of our day today is the pharmacy from the past to present. We'll stop shortly on the question of development of pharmacy started from ancient times in different countries, features of the development of pharmacy in Russia, and of course the basic modern international events that influence the pharmacy practice. The main reference that you may study more detail you can see in the list. One of the most ancient is Egyptian pharmacy. They also made a great contribution to the mankind, such as the most ancient monuments of culture, art, arithmetic and geometry, a calendar counted the number of the days in a year, etc. Hermetic books and papyri serve as a source of information about pharmacy also, called the Book of Preparation of Medicine for all parts of the body, consists of 110 pages and contain 800 recipes. The next country that had a huge impact on the development of pharmacy in ancient times was India. The remedies mentioned in the oldest medical book of India are still used in Indian medicine, many of which are included in scientific medicine of other peoples. Medical knowledge from the founders of Indian medicine were gathered in the sacred books, the Vedas. The most significant is the Ayurveda. Chinese pharmacy has developed in the parallel with Chinese medicine since ancient times. Prince Chen Nan is called the father of medicine, who studied the action of 230 medicinal plants, 65 substances of animal origin, and 48 medicinal minerals. Chinese medicine is distinctive in its theory and in its range of drugs. Unlike Indian medicine, many animals' materials were used. Special attention should be paid to the development of Greek pharmacy. The first information about the medicine of ancient Greece date back to ancient times. Asclepius is considered as the god of medical art. Many doctors in ancient Greece were considered his descendants. Asclepius had two daughters, Hygieia and Panacea. Hygieia was depicted as a young maiden holding a cup in one hand from which a snake drinks. She became famous for her clever advice, therefore she was revered as the goddess of the health. From her name, the term Gygien arose. Panacea, the patroness of drug therapy, hence the term panacea, a cure for all diseases. The image of a boil entwined with a snake later became the emblem of a medicine. A doctor should be wise as a snake and draw wisdom from the bowl of knowledge of nature. It has to be remembered also that the term chemistry came to us from the Arabs, who turned it into alchemy. Science has inherited from alchemists a valuable method of work, experiment. The work of alchemists contributed to the development of not only pharmacy, but also metallurgy, the production of paper, gunpowder and salt production. Despite its practical success, alchemy also had a certain negative impact on the development of pharmacy, since the ideas of a panacea and elixir sent to the research for medicine down the wrong path. A special place among the scientists of ancient East was occupied by the outstanding philosopher, the great doctor of the Middle Ages, Abu Ali al-Hussein ibn Abdullah ibn Sina, known in the world as Avicenna. Avicenna wrote many works on the topic of medical art, pharmacology, chemistry, philosophy. The first regulated pharmacy was opened in 754 in Baghdad under the Abbasid Caliphate during the Islamic Golden Age. Medicines were produced according to the rules summarized in the dispensary. Traditional medicine of Russia, in contrast to Arab and Western European, had its own characteristics, about which visiting foreigners wrote with surprise and admiration. The first Russian pharmacy, which opened in 1581, served only the royal family. For everyone else, the drugs were sold at grocery stores. The first pharmacy for ordinary people was opened in Moscow in 1672, And since that, private pharmacies were authorized by Peter I, and after that the pharmacy began to develop rapidly. Pharmaceutical Charter was issued in 1789. It was a new document to streamline the work of a large number of private pharmacies. The main provisions of it have not lost their relevance to nowadays. The head of the pharmacy must be a person who has been tested and awarded the medical college in the pharmaceutical rank. A pharmacist must be skillful, honest, reasonable, diligent, and fulfill his/her title to the common good accordingly. Drugs in retail, no one and nowhere except pharmacists is prohibited to sell. The pharmacist must store material and compound medicine according to the pharmacopoeia. The pharmacist must compose medication exactly as prescribed by the doctor. For an inexpressive prescription, or one of which the weight of the medication seems questionable, the pharmacist should not prepare the medication until he/she received a proper explanation from the doctor. The pharmacist must keep the poisonous substances under their storage locked and sealed. Pharmacists are prohibited from prescribing medicine for patients and treating them, etc. In connection with the growth of the population, the rapid development of all industries, it became necessary to reform the pharmacy business. Progress was hampered by the monopoly of the right to open, sell and inherit pharmacies. In 1877, the government issued a new pharmacy opening rules. According to the rules, pharmacies were allowed to open on the basis of a petition from the city drug administration and taking into account local specifics, population and number of prescriptions. In the capital cities, each pharmacy had to serve 12,000 visitors and 30,000 prescriptions. In the provincial cities, 10,000 citizens and 15,000 prescriptions a year. The pharmacy profession has expanded significantly in terms of professional services delivery and now has been recognized as an important profession in multidisciplinary provision of healthcare. In contrast to the situation in developed countries, pharmacists in developing countries are still underutilized, and their role as healthcare professional is not deemed important by either the community or other healthcare providers. Professions exist to serve pharmacy, and the mission of the pharmacy profession must address the need of society and individual patients. At one time, the act of deciding on drug therapy and implementing it were relatively simple, safe and inexpensive. The physician prescribed and the pharmacist dispensed. However, there is substantial evidence to show that the traditional methods of prescribing and dispensing medication is no longer appropriate to ensure safety, effectiveness and adherence to drug therapy. Differences in approach to pharmaceutical activity at different ages is shown on slide. The basic international event influence on the pharmacy practice is presented at slide. The First World Health Organization consultative groups on the role of pharmacists met in New Delhi at the end of the previous century and in Tokyo also. In 1993, the International Pharmaceutical Federation first adopted the guidelines for good pharmaceutical practice. In 1994, the 47th World Health Assembly called for the development and implementation of national medicine policies aimed at improving access to the rational use of medicine. National medicine policies, which have been developed in over 100 World Health Organization member states, provide a framework for good pharmaceutical practice. The World Health Organization revised drug strategy relating to the role of the pharmacist and was also addressed in the 1994 resolution of the World Health Assembly. The pharmacist's competence as today, according to the World Health Organization report on the role of the pharmacist in the healthcare system, includes in health promotion and social responsibilities, in the direction and administration of pharmaceutical services, in drug relation and control, in the formulation and quality control of pharmaceutical products, in the inspection and assessment of drug manufacturing facilities, in the assurance of product quality through the distribution chain, in drug procurement agency, in national and institutional formulary and therapeutic committees. The paper entitled Good Pharmaceutical Practice in Developing Countries Guidelines for Implementation was endorsed by the International Pharmaceutical Federation at the end of the previous century. The Good Pharmaceutical Practice guidelines are based on the pharmaceutical care given by pharmacists. The guidelines recommend for national standard to be set the promotion of health, the supply of medicine, medical device, patient self-care, improving prescribing and medicine use by chemists activities, and these guidelines have been subsequently adapted and adopted in a wide number of developed countries. Thus, pharmacy practice nowadays based on rational drug use and include participating in process of drug use decision, selecting the drug product dosage form, selecting drug product source of supply, determine the dose and dosage schedule, monitoring patient compliance, detecting adverse drug reaction and drug interaction. Thank you for your attention, and you are welcome at our next video.